Okay, we're here with Sam Battle, or Look Mum No Computer, as he's known online. How you doing, Sam?
How you doing? Everything all right?
Yeah, it's all good. We can see how busy it still is here,
Yeah,
which
it's
is
nice and busy. It's lovely.
fantastic. So, Sam, tell us what you bought today.
Well, today I haven't bought much, but I bought enough. A couple of computers, which I know is not really like what I was supposed to be talking about. Look Mum No Computer, but we have down here a portable Commodore 64, the SX64, and it has currently got Messiah in there, and it's playing a song that I wrote just before here. Coming here, I've got to find the speaker. So, wait for the good bit. Oh, it's coming.
Any minute, come on.
But yeah, so that is the SX64. People can have a listen to that. And then we have another computer over here, the Atari Stacy. So
wow.
Yeah, this is. Oh, the screen's decided to get a bit dimmer throughout the day, so I have no idea how long this is going to last. But we've got Cubase running on there, Cubase 1.0, and that is currently sequencing this synthesizer, which is like a modular synthesizer. You just twist a big knob and you get a wow, wow. I can't show you it because it's all in headphones, and I think it might have crashed by now anyway. And it's also sequencing this 1980s drum machine that is the Oberheim DX. You know Blue Monday? Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom. It's literally that button right there,
Oh, wow.
So yeah, anyway, that's what I bought today.
Fantastic. So the Atari Stacy
Yeah.
has actually got a worse screen than the normal Atari Stacy.
Amazingly enough, you can actually see it on...
Just about make it looks better on the camera
It does
than
look,
it does on the...
That's one of the first screens where it actually looks better on camera than in real life.
Unbelievable.
But when you move the cursor, you literally can't see where it's going. It's this.
Let's see if we can see it on there.
It's a very hard to... Like, where's... Oh, no, you can see the cursor better in real life.
We've got to get the light out of the way.
Oh, no. No, you can't see it, can you? You're just dotting around like you're playing... You're just playing around in the dark. Yeah, it's an interesting machine. It's lovely.
Fantastic, yeah, lovely, fantastic machine. Love it all.
Right.
Brilliant, Sam. Thanks ever so much, mate.
Thanks for having me.
We're here with Andy Toone, Andy's Micro Beast. Andy, tell us about this, mate.
Right, so we have a Z80 kit computer in a box.
Wow.
You get all the parts to make a complete CPM machine with a Z80 I/O, 512k of RAM, 512k of ROM. This thing runs CPM and has various programs installed built in, so it's a built-in flash disk. It's powered with just a single USB-C, which also gives you data, so you can have a serial terminal as well.
Wow.
But the main feature, or the thing that people notice, is the 14-segment LED display, which gives you a one-line console.
Wow.
You can run full CPM on this, so everything that's coming out the serial line there is also on a virtual terminal inside the machine, and you can scroll around and read what else is on the screen. So I wouldn't use it to edit a Word document on this, but you can, but you can certainly do all the command line stuff.
So this is a kit, is it? Is
So
this the...
full kit. You get a PCB with the complicated bits, the surface mount, all pre-installed, so the power works.
So you can see those just there.
And then you get to do the through hole and the keyboard and so on. It all comes in a nice box. So one of the goals here was to make something that you could build and put away and it wouldn't end up gathering dust in the corner. But when it's open, you've got a nice keyboard and off you go.
Lovely. What was the inspiration behind it?
So the start point, this was the Microprofessor 2, which is a lovely, lovely single-board computer with a built-in display. And I thought, what could we do as a modern version of that that would have an interesting little display, completely self-contained, but hackable and accessible as hardware.
And very similar to it as well in the fact that you can shut it up and it can go on a bookshelf.
Yep.
Exactly the same.
And then you've got an RC 2014 expansion bus, so you can actually plug in other cards and build your own things for it. And it's extendable hardware.
Excellent, excellent stuff.
Yep.
So, what is this though? Because this seems incredibly clever to me because you're showing graphics from this.
So this is Video Beast. It's an expansion for Micro Beast. It gives us a full graphics chip solution for any 8-bit CPU.
Wow.
So for
Wow.
the host machine, this looks like a 16K static RAM chip. So if you can fit an extra bit of RAM onto your machine, this will go in its place. You can write into that, and it will display, so this is a resolution of up to 848 by 480, but you can drop that down to lower resolutions.
Sure.
On screen, it will show up to 6 layers, and each layer can be text or tiles or graphics. It's 512 colors. We have 1 megabyte of video RAM, so we can store bitmaps and tiles and sprites and all the things you could possibly wish for. And you control it from your host CPU by writing to memory, so you can scroll things and change colors and so on just by writing a few bytes out. So you get sort of late 80s 2D arcade board performance on a single chip.
Oh, fantastic.
So this is the prototype at the moment. I'm still working on various of the features, but the idea is that we should be able to hopefully produce this and people can use it in their home brews. It'll come out from Micro Beast. We'll hopefully be supporting the RC 2014 guys and hopefully enabling people to do some sort of pretty high-end graphics on their 8-bit machines.
Excellent. What was it you showed me earlier where you could change the backing graphics?
Yeah, sure.
So that looks pretty impressive to me.
So we've got the actual memory view here at the moment. So I can write to the control registers on the graphics board and swap modes. We're in the highest resolution at the moment, but we can pixel double that to 424 by 240. And these are both 16:9 resolutions to work on modern monitors because a lot of people have them. Or we can switch down to a more old school, so we have a 640 by 480, and then we can pixel double that to 320 by 240. So you can drop right down to sort of the early 8-bit resolutions, and you can set up the bitmaps so that you could do the sort of graphics you would have on the early 8-bit machines, and then you can go right up to throwing sprites around and tiles and lots of layers and transparency and all the things that will allow you to do, hopefully, quite nice graphics.
Oh, incredible. Was there a picture you could drop on here as well?
Yeah, let's see if we can do that.
That was the second most impressive thing that I saw.
Let me have a look. Let's just drop it into high resolution.
You can also see how nice the Micro Beast keyboard is to type on with this. Which is no mean.
I'm constantly surprised how well this works. So we can turn off this background layer, and we can pop in its place a bitmap, and this is byte per pixel, paletted graphics, and you can scroll and move this all in real time and show decent graphics on it.
It's incredibly impressive.
Thank you.
Well, Andy, thanks ever so much for coming down here, and we'll see you soon, possibly at the pub later.
Yeah, definitely.
Here we are with the museum's very own Adrian Page-Mitchell. How you doing, me old mate?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Sitting down, it's getting towards the end of the day, so I need to rest my old aged feet
Your poor
a little
old
bit more.
bones.
But yeah, it's been an incredibly busy day, and now it's quieting down a little bit so I can enjoy my own machines a little bit, because I don't often get these out at home. These are all my own machines, largely all imported from Japan, apart from my Commodore 116, my CGL M5, and of course down here my little Commodore 16.
Let's just move
working valiantly away here.
Lovely. Oh, and it's on that screen there. So, what do you want to talk to us about first?
Well, I've got a bit of a liking in the last few years, as you know, Pete, to the Japanese micros, some really quite obscure ones. So one of my recent pickups is my Junior 100.
Oh, I love this.
So it is just a very, very cute little machine with its extraordinarily well-coloured chiclet keyboard here. Very simple machine. We had fun with this a little while ago, didn't we? Because,
yeah, we couldn't get an output. Well, I say we couldn't get an output.
I couldn't get an output.
Who couldn't get an output?
No, I couldn't. So I thought that was an RF socket, which I'll say RF. So RF socket, but what it actually turns out to be is a composite.
Because it means go to the
yeah.
RF modulator from that socket.
It absolutely does. So yeah, tape in and out on there, power socket, and not a lot else. 16K, it's black and white. Very, very little software produced for it, but I've managed to actually find some unbelievably a guy that does homebrew stuff.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Futo or someone in Japan.
Oh, okay.
So he's produced about 8 games for this and actually
nice.
made it useful. But I was going to have it running, but the composite picture it puts out is really weak. So by the time you've loaded a game up, it can't see what on earth it's doing. So yeah.
It's very similar to the Lambda, though, isn't it? Sort of style.
I think so.
Architecture, but certainly in appearance.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what is this one though? Because this looks.
So Sano Primary Computer. Basically, if I was to take these 2 silver labels off, it would say Sword M5 Junior. So I'm very, very fond of the Junior. Ever since I was a young lad and I went into the computer centre in Cambridge, down St Andrews Street, and I saw this machine in there and I was always taken by it. I thought, that's a fantastic looking machine. If I'd have bought it at the time, I would have, wouldn't have been able to buy it. It was too much money, it's about £180. But I'd have found out it's like an only little 4K machine. Largely runs off of cartridges, so it's got cartridge slot.
Yep.
Runs off of basic I, basic G or basic F, depending on what you want to do with it. Graphical, integer or floating point. But it's just a really, really nice little machine. And that was at the point in about 1983 or 84 where it seemed like a new micro came out every single week.
We just look at the difference in styling though between this one and the Japanese one.
Yeah,
because
so
if you raise the flat, that's nice.
So there, yeah. Identical machine. Also, I have a third one here, which is
But wait, there's more.
the Pro, the M5 Pro. Now, the only thing pro about it is it's got 2 boards instead of 1. So it's actually got the cartridge slot screwed into the case.
Oh, okay.
So that it reads the cartridge every time. These ones are a massive nuisance. When you put a cartridge in, you have to put it in really hard. It tends to bend the board, and they just don't load very well at all. And and then down here we've got what was supposed to be the cut down one. It's even larger.
Yeah.
It's got an amazing profile to its keyboard.
Nice.
Get that down
It
like that.
really is nice.
Okay. They decided to move the joystick ports from, I've got to get this right. Yeah, the joystick ports from the rear of the machine
We get
to the
this
front.
one down for scale as well.
Yeah,
The joystick ports have gone to the rear to the front, which is quite a good.
quite a good
shout.
suggestion. So,
So yeah, the cut down version is actually bigger, isn't it?
yeah. It's also RF only.
Oh, okay.
These
So
ones
you
are...
couldn't get it wrong then.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So they've lost the composite sockets. Then we've got a little printer port here, the power, and the cassette port. Try loading a cassette game into 4K and see what kind of game you're going to get. It's not going to be great. You could get memory expansion for them, but no one ever seemed to bother. I've never seen one with
Yeah, I've
expanded
never
memory.
seen one for those.
But yeah, it got your usual arcade conversions of the day. We've got Super Cobra in here, and I've actually got the SPC one out because it's just easier to load a game on, basically. And so yeah, this is the Sano primary computer. See its name on there. So this went into like Japanese universities. Only I don't know exactly what happened, but they might have realised that the machine wasn't quite up to spec. So they then turned to Casio.
Yep.
And they took their Casio's PV7 and that became the SPC Mark II.
Oh.
Then I think they kind of went, yeah, that's good, but it's still not quite right. Need a little bit more memory, a little bit more of that. So they turned to Casio's PV16 and you can see the label on here. If I bring that up here,
yeah,
the SPC Mark III.
Uh-huh.
So,
Wow.
so Sano's name, Casio expansion. Yeah, and then the other thing I'm just flying the flag for this weekend is the Commodore 264 series. So Commodore 116 that I have out there.
Try that again. Like a
Does fully
miniature
work.
+4.
But at the moment I have got my super duper souped up Commodore 16 on display around the other side.
What is super duper souped up about this super duper?
So it has had its memory expanded from 16 to 64K.
Ooh.
It's got Jiffy DOS installed. So Jiffy DOS basically means it can load the game in lightning speed. It's also got an SD card in it. And so that I don't have to keep opening the machine up, I have actually got a nice little card slot in the back there. So that's got everything worldly and good, including what is running a conversion of Saberwolf. And
Happy days.
yeah, so yeah, the Commodore 16, I've had a Commodore +4 for years. Spent about 25 years in the attic because I didn't know what to do with it. But it's just, I then came across the website +4 World, and it's like, crikey, these machines are capable of that. Because a lot of people think they're really, really, really inferior to the Commodore 64, when in a couple of ways they're actually a bit better.
Ah.
So it's 128 colours on screen rather than the Commodore 64's 16 colours.
Yep.
Its processor's 3 times faster. It doesn't have any hardware sprites, but that never held the Spectrum back. So, yeah, and then I've just been slowly swapping out my other machines that I've got here, like Bandai's.
This is a lovely machine.
So the RX-78 Gundam. Now, why is this particularly hard to search for on the internet? I hear you cry. Well,
I'm crying here. Why is it? Tell us.
basically, it's a really, really famous Gundam character, robot. So if you ever search for this on the internet, even if you put computer after the name, almost nothing comes up. I think you get something from oldcomputers.com comes up.
Yeah.
And that's about it. So it's been really, really tricky to try and find software for it. And but it's just another nice, obscure little Japanese machine. Good basic. I haven't got a basic cartridge for it though, because they cost hundreds.
Yes, they do. I remember a friend of ours, a mutual friend, getting one and not telling his partner how much he'd spent on it for good reason.
Absolutely. So, I mean, the games, I think I've got about 5 games for it. Mahjong, an ABC spelling game.
How'd you get on with that though? Are you
Yeah,
all right?
that's not great.
You're getting there.
Champion Racer. It's a racing game that you control just with these keys up here. And you start a race, but you crawl away from the line. And before you know it, you've been hit by about 20 cars from behind. And when you get hit, you slow down. So you end up with a car that doesn't respond and jerks all over the place.
Trying to race with.
Yeah, so I want to drive a few people mad with that tomorrow, so I'll get that plugged in. And then, you know me and Casio's.
Yes.
So, yes, the
Around here again.
the rest of my display are just Casio's that I brought over largely from Japan. I left the big FP 1100 at home because it's just it doesn't work terribly well. So yes, so lovely. You can't go wrong with a lovely red computer, can
You
you?
certainly can't.
So
It's a very, very shiny red.
shiny red. You almost don't want to touch it after it's been out for a day. But
Oh, brilliant. Well, thanks very much, Adrian, as always.
okay.
This time we're with Roy Templeman, the loud Scots bloke. How you doing, Roy?
I'm all right, mate. How are you?
Not too bad. It's great to see you. So,
Thank
tell
you.
us about these then.
So what we've got here is a table full of Aquariuses,
Prairie.
Aquarii. The reason I've got the Aquarius this year is because it's the 40th anniversary of the Aquarius. So
Wow.
Aquarius came out in 1983. So I thought that today I would celebrate that fact by having 3 distinct Aquarius machines.
Fantastic.
So starting off with the original Aquarius. So as most people know, the original Aquarius came out in 1983 and was a bit of a flop. Well, more than a bit of a flop. It fell completely flat on its face. It was not very popular, and even by 80s standards, it was a fairly poorly spec'd machine. But it was my first machine. 10-year-old Roy got an Aquarius instead of a Spectrum. And I've loved it ever since. And even in its short lifetime, so it was only actually available on the market for 4 months. But during that 4 months, its price went from 150 quid down to 50 quid on sale. So quite a few of them sold just because they wanted to get rid of the stock. But they also actually created a fair few peripherals for it, even though it only had that short life. So you've got things like, so the tape deck is quite a common thing to find these days.
Yes, yeah.
But you've also got things like the mini expander here, which gave the Aquarius a bit better sound. Joystick ports. When I say joystick, what I mean are joy pads.
Yeah,
these terrible looking things. And
Yeah, when you say joy,
yeah, when I say joy, what I mean
this
is
is a bit loosely
the absolute
terminology.
opposite
Isn't
of
it?
that. They are horrendous, but I love it. And then you have slightly more obscure, obscure peripherals. So this is called the X10 command console.
This is the same as the TRS-80
It is
version, isn't
exactly
it?
the same, but it was originally designed for the Aquarius. And in fact,
really?
if you see the one on the TRS, you'll find that it's all badged TRS, but is in fact the same aesthetics.
It's identical,
Exactly,
absolutely identical,
because it's
yeah.
designed to fit the Aquarius
Yes,
aesthetic. So, but the Aquarius had many limitations. You had no user-definable graphics. You had to use what they gave you. The sound was quite poor. The keyboard is famous for being terrible. Although I affectionately call her the wee blue key, and I love the wee blue key. She's fantastic. And it's one of these machines that's so bad that you have to love it. It's got a wee bit of a cult following, but I love her, absolutely.
It's your thing though, the underdogs as
The
well.
underdogs are definitely my thing, and there's people still creating peripherals for them. Modern peripherals, which we'll see.
We can even see this as a modern one.
So this is the micro expander, and this puts all the technology that's in this 80s mini expander into just this tiny 3-tier PCB. And the reason I've got it plugged in here is just so that I can continue to use the original joypads instead of using the breakout on here.
Course,
and I've
yeah.
actually removed the AY chip from this modern implementation purely because they've still got the original one in here. Otherwise, they'd conflict. So I've removed it from there. But they work in harmony, and it's absolutely fantastic. Moving back to the X10,
Yes.
that allowed you to control things that were on the power ring main. So you would have it's effectively the Alexa of its day, if I dare call it that. And you would write little macros that would configure these buttons to say, turn the bedroom light on, turn the kettle on, turn the, whatever it is, turn this thing on and turn that thing off. And that was always envisaged to come out for the Aquarius. And there is the application to allow you to speak to this to do it. But unfortunately, first of all, it was never released. It never got out of beta. And when you do run it, the Aquarius obviously has to be on and can't do anything.
I was going to say, does it have to be independent?
It does.
Or
It does. So it's not like the later generation where you could offload the commands to the plug.
Yes.
It's not that intelligent. It has to be all run from here.
Nice.
Which limited it a wee bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad enough when the kids take over the telly, but when you take over the computer and the telly just to turn your lights on and off.
There you go. For what? You'd probably do it twice and you'd never do it again. You know?
Exactly.
But so even though it was only around for 4 months and Mattel gave the rights back to Radofin, which were the original designers of the machine, Radofin had already began designing the new Aquarius, the Aquarius 2.
Oh, okay.
But obviously when Mattel dropped out of the computer market, Radofin decided that they weren't going to pursue that. So they'd only ever actually produced 25 Aquarius 2 machines. And I'm lucky enough to have one of them.
Wow.
This is serial number 24. It's probably one of the, if not the rarest machine in my collection. And because so few of them were made, no software came out for it.
Try and get the form factor
That's
from
all
the
right.
side as well.
I mean, they're lovely looking machines. They always have been.
Sorry, so there's no software out for this at all?
There was no software out for it at all.
No period software, sorry.
No, unfortunately. So I did actually have to end up writing a game for it.
Oh, tragedy.
I had to write a game for it just so she could do something.
Let's just put this in context. Roy writes games for the Aquarius as well.
do
So
write games
these
for
are
the
all
Aquarius.
Roy's games as well.
Yeah, I do.
Which
yeah,
are some of them are quite a challenge, but they are good games nonetheless.
I do get people coming back saying your games are quite hard. Well, games were hard in the 80s, so I've kept that legacy.
Yeah. Go and play Tetris or something if you want an easy one. Yeah, off you go.
I've kept the legacy. So I'm quite chuffed with the Aquarius, or being the owner of an Aquarius 2, even though it did take me 6 months to repair it, because you just can't get the schematics for it or anything like that, and she was in a pretty bad way.
Yes, yeah. So what are the differences then between the first one and the second?
Not as many as you would think.
There's the obvious ones.
The obvious one's the keyboard. So there was a big plan of Radofin to have all these new features built into the Aquarius 2. So it was going to have redefinable graphics. It was going to have better sound, and obviously the better keyboard. But because they decided just to drop out, they just threw out what they already had.
Oh, okay.
And basically what they already had was just an Aquarius in a new case with a keyboard. I mean, there's slight differences. So the Aquarius 2 comes with Microsoft Extended Basic in the ROM, which makes it different from the Aquarius, which has got quite a cut-down version of Basic. So it does make the memory map a wee bit different, and it makes the operating system a wee bit different, but fundamentally, it's pretty much the same machine, just in a new case.
And it
which
also
is a shame. It's a shame.
And it runs directly off AC, off the transformer.
That is a difference, yeah. So
there will be a bridge rectifier in it, but it is...
yeah, she is AC, yeah. But it does at least have a removable mains cable, which the Aquarius doesn't.
Yeah.
It's hardwired in.
I've seen a lot of Aquarii eyes, so they're there.
Yeah. Carrying around a brick. Now, I've cheated with mine, yeah.
That's a great idea, because
Yeah.
I've even bought one myself, which
Yeah.
someone snipped off the wire from the end.
Right.
Which is, I'd do
Yeah.
it. I'm actually
Yeah.
glad they did, because it stops the cable burn.
Yeah, it
where
does.
people wrap it around, which
does,
is good. But
absolutely.
also,
Yeah,
I bought an Aquarius with a snipped off power cable, so, it's what the things you do.
I have cheated, because it is a bit, storage-wise, it's a pain to have that brick permanently attached, because I do have all my PSUs stored separately from the machine, so I needed to come up with something, and it's not the best solution, but it works okay.
Yeah.
And so moving back on to some of the peripherals that were available, you'll see some of the original cartridges that were available in the 80s for the Aquarius.
I do like the artwork.
Yeah, the artwork's always.
We just
Yeah, of course, mate. You can move that and see some of the
there we go,
early
that's
boxes and things there.
It's a bit
Yeah.
that's
So some of the games did come out in cassette. These are some of the early cassette games, for example. So Invaders is an excellent Space Invaders clone. Driver's a pretty rare and difficult game to get hold of for the Aquarius. Sorry.
That's it. Yeah, just get the shine off the
Sorry,
window.
mate.
Yep.
But most games for it actually came out in cartridge. And that was just because of the legacy of the Intellivision. Because it was a Mattel, so people were used to sticking cartridges in. So when the computer market came along, they wanted to try and continue that legacy because of the Mattel product. But they soon realised that the cartridges were quite expensive to manufacture and produce, and in the UK, cassettes were more of a thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it does. These days, cartridges are still expensive to produce, which is why my games come out in cassette or digital download.
Yes.
And then you move on to some of the harder to find peripherals. So the printer's not exactly rare, and it is of a similar ilk to all those thermal printers that are around for the Specky and the Dragon.
Yes,
and
yeah.
in fact, they're all probably exactly under the bonnet. They're exactly the same.
You'd imagine so,
same
wouldn't you?
units, yeah, just rebadged. And in fact, yet again, the Dragon version of this printer is literally the Aquarius one with the Dragon data badge.
It is, yeah. To the point where even Tony over there was thinking about just printing off his own label for it to get away with it. I didn't tell anyone that. We'll have to cut that bit before he sees the video.
And then I managed to get my hands on this a few years back because I actually thought this was vaporware. I never knew they actually produced these. So this is the color printer. And technically it's not actually a printer, it's a plotter because it uses pens.
Oh wow, lovely stuff.
So it's actually a little plotter. Now, as far as I'm aware, these never came out in Europe. It was only a US thing, and I was lucky enough to find it boxed, complete and unused in America a few years back. And although it does actually work okay, the pens have obviously dried up. You can refill them with ink, but I'm just glad I've got the unit to be.
Yeah, it's just nice to see it in situ, what it would have looked like on your desk if you bought one of the 25 Aquarius 2s, had the rare printer, and had the Dragon thermal printer that you wanted to rebadge.
I mean, even though we know that about 25 of these were ever made, we only know of about 3 or 4 that exist. And as far as I'm aware, mine is the only one that actually works.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Other than yours, I've only ever seen 2 and none in real life, only ever online.
Yeah, and probably never working, never shown to be working.
Of course, absolutely.
Yeah. And the problem is when they die, because there's no schematics, unless you've actually got some knowledge of how those PCBs work, you're never going to get it back up and running.
No.
And they have horrendously large caps in them, and when they go, they
do,
go.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, so moving on to what I assume is some kind of legacy, because the keys are blue, although not so wee.
They're not wee, they're quite big, but it did take me a wee while to find some blue keys for it. This is the 2023 Aquarius Plus.
Oh, look at that. These are for sale now, aren't
they're
they?
for sale now, yeah.
There you go.
So these
complete
are the
with blue keyboard, or do you have to?
You have to provide
source
your
it?
own keyboard, but it does support USB. So this is the brainchild of Sean Harrington, and the idea behind it was what we wanted to do with the Aquarius Plus was try and look at what the Aquarius could have become had it continued along a roadmap. So not just been around for 4 months.
Or if it's around for 6.
or only have 25 of them. What could it be? And I know that the temptation these days is to produce a full FPGA version of a machine and just take its configuration to extremes. That's not what's happened with the Aquarius Plus. What the Aquarius Plus has is a real Z80 processor. So it does have an FPGA in there, but it's only doing the legwork for some of the unobtainable chips that are in the original Aquarius, like the PLAs, for example. But what this allows us to do is just take the Aquarius that stage further. So give it the things that the Aquarius 2 was supposed to have, which is things like hard sprites, user-definable character sets, multi-channel sound.
It almost sounds good.
It does almost sound good, but still being an Aquarius.
Yes, It's still got its soul to it.
It's still cyan. It's still, it still has its foibles, but it's an improved Aquarius. So there are so many more things you can now do with this. It is constantly being changed at the minute, but they are for sale. They are available, and we've sold about 50 of them already, which is pretty good, given that the Aquarius forum, Aquarius ownership is quite small. Compared to.
I'm assuming you've all got 3 each.
No, we don't.
Just massage the sales figures a bit.
And we wanted to keep it as much of a real Aquarius as we possibly could, just using modern technology. So all the hardware that you see here, all the cartridges, all the joypads, the printers, they all are completely compatible with the new Aquarius Plus. I mean,
awesome.
even the cartridge slot on the side here will take all your proprietary cartridges. So any of these games I've got up here, I could plug directly in to the Aquarius Plus, and they would just work as if on a normal Aquarius. Would you really want to do that when you've got SD card support these days? Well,
yes, depends if you're a purist or not, I suppose.
And
but the option's there.
Yeah, same with the jack plugs on the side. So you've got cassette deck, printer, you know, again, are you ever going to do that? But it's there if you want
You want
to.
to have the options, yeah, definitely so.
Yeah.
So how long was this in development for?
2 years.
Wow.
So a 2-year window before it actually started to come to fruition. So there's been a lot of work with Frank and Sean and the guys behind the scenes making this a reality.
But from
trying
brain to table in 2 years isn't bad at all.
It is
really.
pretty good, isn't it? It's pretty awesome. And still trying to keep it as an Aquarius.
Yes,
Because,
yeah.
I mean, what you can't forget that one of the reasons an Aquarius is an Aquarius is because it's so bad.
Yes,
Right?
yeah.
This machine is terrible. It's got terrible graphics, terrible sound, a terrible keyboard, but I love it.
Yes,
Absolutely love it because of all of those things.
Obviously, this is a family YouTube channel, but you should have heard the words we were using to replace the words rubbish at the pub last night. It was it did get a bit colourful at times.
It was a little bit more colourful, yeah.
Yeah, especially with a Scotsman defending his love.
There you go.
Shall we say?
Absolutely, there you go. So it is one of those. My whole collection is a bit like that. It's I collect the oddballs, I collect the flops, I collect the machines that tried so hard but never actually got anywhere. You know, and I absolutely love everybody's variation of what the future was going to be. You know,
Yes, yeah.
Our machine is the best. Our machine can do these things, and it'll be the future. And of course, they never were.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, thanks a lot for bringing those along, Roy,
No worries,
and
mate.
we'll see you at the next event. Cheers, buddy.
certainly will.
Thanks, mate.